Matt Lanigan here, here for SAMP Community Week, being joined by Andrew Welsh. Andrew Welsh is a former elite athlete, champion halfback flanker turned goal sneak for Essendon Football Club, had a few injury setbacks which hampered the talented footballers achieving his fullest abilities. He then tried his luck in acting in Hollywood, but had more success poolside at the Mondrian than on the screen, and ventured back to Oz, where he forged his exceptional career in property with the Welsh Group. Co-founding Site Tech Solutions, he played key commercial role assuming accountability of new business opportunities and developing key relationships with building, events and hospitality sectors. Welshie, or Woosha, as he's known to his mates, is now one of the most respected CEOs in the property sector as founder and managing director of Wellco, a place where Andrew can focus on his passion for commitment to building developments with integrity. A loving father, a lateral thinker and passionate innovator, a true leader amongst his peer. Ladies and gentlemen, please meet the great man, Mr. Andrew Welsh.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for the ever kind introduction. I might have to get that off you. Can you send that across? Because I'm going to use that going forward.
Yeah,
you made me sound quite
good. Absolutely. Yeah. Look, so thanks for joining us and having a chat for SAMP Community Week. Basically, straight off the bat, I guess it's the elephant in the room. How have you dealt with COVID and within your business and your company?
Yeah, look, thanks, mate, for having me on. It's there's no great answer for that one. It's an ever changing answer. But what we did, our mindset from the onset back in sort of January, February when this started coming to light was try and sit ahead of what we needed to from the industry. So things like procurement on site, we needed to make sure we had strong procurement and things like drainage and electrical pits and electrical kiosk and the like, a lot of stuff that comes offshore. So we did that early, which was really beneficial. But we expected that to carry us through to sort of midway through the year, and this second wave of even increased lockdown and restrictions been extremely challenging, not just for us, but for the industry as a whole, but for society as a whole as well. So dealing with things that we've never dealt with before, never thought would need to deal with on an hourly basis, really has been ever challenging. But within my business, got a great team, providing great insights where we are and what we're having to do to help navigate through that. So us, like everyone's, feeling the impact. But I'm confident that we're going to continue to come through this even stronger than we went into it as a business.
Yeah, good positive mindset to be in. I guess let's leave the COVID chat to one side because we could talk about that for the next 2 hours alone. But let's focus on you and your career and your journey, and maybe for our community, give us a bit of a snapshot of where it all began.
So I played AFL football for 10 years and retired at 28. And, as you said in the intro, I had some pretty severe injuries late that just didn't allow me to get back. And I had a real passion for business. While I was playing, I started, co-founded with a couple other guys, a business called Site Tech Solutions, which we grew to one of the largest suppliers in Victoria of start site up products like temporary fence and portable toilet, site signage, bins for site for the construction and event industry. So, as unglamorous as that sounds, I loved it because it was something that I'd founded, I was passionate about, and gave me something away from footy. So that was really growing well, and it aligned with my passion for property. And within that, I would be out on the trucks, pumping portable toilets, post-football, putting up temporary fence, but it gave me an insight into the land development space, which is ultimately where I really wanted to get to. And, being out and installing a temporary fence on a project and seeing it as a farm, and then coming back 6 months later and seeing it as a fully serviced estate was something that really excited me and really interested me. So the evolution, naturally came, from there and moving into the land development space. While I was playing at Essendon, I was lucky enough to spend a lot of time with a guy named Mark Casey, who was the major force in rezoning the whole Armstrong Creek area between Geelong and Torquay. So I spent a lot of time down there with him, learning the ropes, learning the difficulties about land subdivision. But it was something that I thought that was really suited my skill sets. And as that evolved, I went through and built a business in that space, and now grown it to quite a significant portfolio and pipeline with a great team behind me. And it's not just the residential piece now. I've also got a commercial project that doing down in Armstrong Creek. So I've gone the full cycle back to where I learned the craft. I'm now developing in that area that I'm extremely passionate about. So it's been a quick journey in the last 10 years, and got many working years ahead of me. But I've learned an enormous amount over that period, and a lot of the fundamentals, I suppose, that come from a football career, around how you need to portray yourself and put yourself forward, and how you need to be as a footballer is no different to in the business world and the business community. And the integrity that you hold is something that you cherish and you need to protect.
Yeah, sure. You mentioned Mark Casey as someone that maybe perhaps been a mentor or guiding you and learning a lot from. How important do you consider mentors or core people around you to be as successful as someone like yourself?
I think the second point, like core people around you more than mentors. I've got one of the benefits, to be honest, coming out of a elite environment like Essendon is you have some extremely successful people that are really strong men, women in business, and to have the ability to call them and go and have a coffee and just ask them some general questions around business and life has been extremely beneficial for me. In regards to for me, some people say, I've got a mentor. I've sort of got many of people, a group of people that I call on just for general discussions. No one that's intimately in the knowledge of the day-to-day runnings of my business and how I operate, but more circumstantial around how to deal with different scenarios, general business scenarios that come up that I just haven't had the experience in my business years to know how to work through that, whether it's staff issues, growth issues, whatever it may be. I've got a good network of people that I can talk to, and I find those core people that are successful really appreciate younger people reaching out to them and asking for advice, not becoming a pain and calling every day about how to sign off and or put together a balance sheet, or also can you tell me how to move this to here and put that there. It's just more general discussions around business and philosophy. I've found those that I speak to are generally really pleased that you feel comfortable reaching out to them.
Yeah, great. I guess now more than ever, there's a real focus on mental health and finding that good, work and personal life balance. Can you, I guess, tell us a little bit about your habits in that space and perhaps, how they were created and how you kind of transfer them into what you're doing now?
Yeah, and being honest, it's not an area that I do excel in. Is the getting that balance right, and it's ever more difficult now because to have that headspace balance and where you've got work life and away from work life is difficult now because your work life's at home, and you can get away for an hour and go for a walk around the block, and you come back and you're back in that work environment. So I've got extreme concerns around people's mental health, in general, but more so through this further lockdown for those reasons, because the work-life balance I'm a full advocate for. I don't live it, unfortunately, at this stage, because I've got so much on a business front at risk that I need to make sure that I'm on top of. But I do enjoy getting out and going for a walk or going for a jog or going fishing and going camping where you can. All those activities are sort of taken away from us at the moment. So it is key to find other things that drive you and give you that headspace, whether it's getting away from it and actually turning your computer and all your devices off for a period of time at home. Stop hanging out waiting for the COVID numbers to come through every day, just so you can see the shift in what that is. There are measures that we're needing to take and continue to learn to adapt to actually make sure that we are getting that work-life balance in an environment that you can't seem to escape anything but negative negative news at the moment. So I spoke to my team yesterday about this exact topic, and making sure that that physically that they're well and they're keeping on top of their work and they're driven, that we're working as a team collaborative to get through this, but also to really watch out for each other's mental health through this period as well. And if we're picking up differences in people and how they're interacting on phone or Zoom meetings or like, which is a way of our life, we need to be reaching out and making sure that people feel comfortable and okay to say that we're struggling, because we all are and we all will be at certain times. So we just need that openness that we can talk to each other about it, and it's not a weakness at all.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Definitely we've got to do it together. I know it gets thrown around a fair bit, we're all in it together, but really, you got to get everyone around you talking and sharing, and that the digital detox, or, turning off your phone or getting away from it is so crucial for sure. All right, so I know you've got a gorgeous family and you've represented a champion football club, but if we focus on the property sector, what is there one thing that you're most proud of to date?
I'm proud of the business and how it's evolved and where it's currently sitting right now with the team that I have behind me. It's taken a while to evolve to that point, but I haven't done it in a way that I haven't been in the trenches through that period. I've walked down the driveway of farms, trying to purchase property. Been walked back out of those farms with people with guns and chasing me out. And I've been through the engineering process, the planning process. So the last 10 years of really being in the trenches and setting up the business to where it's at now has given me a really strong understanding of the complexities of growth area development, but also the appreciation of the challenges that the team come up against at times, because growth area developments, there's a belief there you buy a farm and you can just put some roads in and it's complete. It's totally not that, and it takes years of planning and setting up the infrastructure to actually maximise the returns from a project. So that's the business where it's at now, and the recent restructure and rebrand to position us as a real corporate entity ready to expand and grow with strong finance partners is something I'm proud of, to not one individual project or one individual item, but currently where the business and the team sitting right now is probably my greatest appreciation for what we've done.
Yeah, good. I guess touching on that corporate entity that you've now, repositioned yourself as, and, you are, truly a leading CEO in the sector. Can you give us and the community a little bit of an insight into that brain, that CEO brain, when you're at the boardroom with some of the wealthiest people in the world, or the most ruthless business people trying to do a deal? Can you give us some insight into that?
Look, my financing comes, I've got two main finance partners, one OCP Asia, which is a group based out of Hong Kong and Singapore, and also company Banner Asset Management. These men and lady are extremely smart, extremely knowledgeable about not just development, but also the structures that are required finance-wise to be able to maximise the returns for their funds, but then also make sure that the developments are ultimately successful and can deliver on what's being promised from a purchasing perspective. So, that's an area that I spend probably a fair part of my time now is around the finance structures of the business and of projects. And we've got a portfolio of 4,000+ lots ahead of us. We've got a shopping centre with a GOV of over $1 billion. These are complex transactions, that, I need to be over the top of every bit of detail of these to be able to talk to the financiers with confidence. And I've built up, a good understanding and rapport with the financiers that I've worked with them for the last 5 or 6 years. And although development has its challenges, I'm open and transparent when they are coming up, what difficulties there are and how they come about, but what we're doing to navigate through those. So I think, the transparency that I provide and the business provides to our financiers is something that, provides that support, from them to know that, we're not hiding things, we're open and transparent, and that's what we need to be, even more so in this environment. Regular updates around how we're moving through this, and what challenges we're facing, but how we're solving for it, has been key to making sure that those partners are aligned with the outcomes. But then also the opportunity that comes and will come from this, from a development perspective as well, and looking at portfolios that may need to be divested by other development companies, making sure that if those opportunities do come up, we've got the capital partner and structures to be able to move quickly. Because I'm 37, I want to be doing this thing for a long time. I'm not using this next period to tap out and go into retirement like some other successful developers may be looking to move on sites. I'm looking to really grow through this period, and making sure that I've got the partners, the finance partners there to be able to support that plan.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. All right, so expert in the field and uncertain times ahead. Now we won't hold you to any kind of predictions, but what's your outlook? What's your take on the outlook of the sector as a whole over the next 12 months, 3 years, 5 years?
Well, I think the extension of the home builder grant's a great boost for my area of development in growth area in the house and land package. We did 90 sales in July across the portfolio, largely on the back of that home builder grant that come through originally. So the extension of that's going to be really positive for the growth area development space. I think it's going to be challenging outside of that though. I think with migration going to be down for a decent period of time, a fair proportion of growth area development and residents are migrants from other countries. So the investor market, where's that going to be going in the short term and even medium term once there's some stabilisation come back into the market. So I think we get through this 6-week period, and I think we'll go for a little bit longer. And then we'll see a bit of a rally there from people wanting to take advantage, who are financially capable of taking advantage of these incentives. But I think there's probably 12 months from a sales point of view that's going to be challenging for all developers to keep up the sales numbers on the back of the programs that they would have put together for their development. So that medium term is the area that we're putting a lot of focus into, making sure that we can keep the sales volumes up through that. So there's no doubt the stimuluses, federal and state, are going to be a major support mechanism for the development space, and really key to be able to make sure that people are still getting the opportunity to move into their own home, and that this pandemic hasn't forced them out of the market for 2 or 3 years. That it's not that far away from them under some of these schemes, that they can re-engage with the market and go and buy their first or second home.
Yeah, great. All right, so I guess just before we leave, on a personal level, can you tell us what does the future have in store for you? There's been some whispers around at board level, your recent success in horse racing, maybe looking at taking that up full time, or possibility of becoming the mayor of Woodend. Is that gaining any momentum?
The horse racing piece, I think I've fluked that. A good friend of mine, Sonny Roth, he's heavily involved in racing and really successful, and he put this horse in front of me last year. I've never really been involved, and I got on board. And it's one of its first 5 called Mystery Shot. So that's really exciting, but that's sort of it for me. I know that's, I'm not going to go into buying more and more horses.
Yeah.
And the mare part of Woodend, I think I'll struggle with some of the people's views of me up in the community up here with my great plans for the area into the future. So, but certainly, the Masson Ranges, which is, I grew up in Sunbury and spent a lot of time up through this region. So it's something that's again very, very, very fond of. But I'm sticking with the land development, mate, and I think I'll be in that space for a very long time.
Sure. So, what about if we look at Welco? What's the plans there? More shopping centres, more community villages. Where's the next growth areas that you're looking at?
Yeah, so with the restructure, one of the reasons of that is getting it to a position that we can look at joint venture opportunities with larger groups than ourselves. To this point, all of the projects that I've developed have been my own, company owned. So for us to grow, we need to look at those other opportunities. There's been a big influx of capital come in from overseas over the last few years, buying great sites, but the capabilities of these groups just aren't there to actually deliver. So for us to be able to expand, it's to grow into areas of joint venture opportunities, develop management opportunities, so develop on behalf of funds, on behalf of high net wealth who've got property but not the skill sets or the want to do the day-to-day development piece. But then also geographical expansion is something that we're very focused on at the moment in the southeast Queensland market. We've been working through there for the last 12 months, looking at opportunities, which I think will probably be accelerated through this COVID period. So now I've got a 5-year plan there of where I want the business to be sitting, and that's with a significant strategic land portfolio, and the Armstrong Creek Town Centre. That's a once in a generation project that we've got down there as first stage opened recently with the Coles anchored supermarket. So I've got 15 plus years ahead of me just on that project alone, which is really exciting for the business and the finance partners in that one. So it's not a time of sitting down and lamenting in things that's happened the last 10 years. It's about how I can set up for the next 10 years through this period, which is exciting for me and ultimately exciting for my team to be part of that vision of this next phase of the business, and give them real buy-in and opportunity to be part of something pretty special.
Fantastic.